The Emperor of Evil has officially entered the battlefield. That's right. Frieza has just been revealed as the latest playable character in Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra, and today we're going to be diving deep into everything you need to know, from his moveset and gameplay mechanics to how he stacks up against the rest of the roster. This breakdown has it all, whether you're a fan of Frieza's ruthless style or just curious about how he plays, you're in the right place. If you enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's jump into the breakdown. Alright guys, this is the Frieza trailer here. We're going to go ahead and look through this to get a quick look at his animations as well. And then after we look at his animations, we're going to go ahead and break down his kit. So there we go, man. That is the Frieza art right there. Obviously, this is one of the things we saw in the trailer. He is alongside Jazori and Zarbon. They are going to be a part of his kit and how he functions. And that is his... So Frieza himself is going to be just shooting out Ki Blasts, as we saw right there. And Zarbon and Midoriya do also attack alongside him, shooting Ki Blasts. So I wonder how his damage is going to be. Because obviously he has 3 people shooting. He's probably going to have some pretty good base damage, kind of like Piccolo. Probably much faster, because it looks like his Ki Blasts are much faster. Zoria, though, is shooting the Ki Blast. But Zarbon looks like he's going for like a melee attack. At least not that I can tell from there. This is one of his skills here, where Zarbon is shooting and Midoriya is pushing them back. That's kind of, I think, how they want you to use him. He has a kind of an area of effect where he buffs everybody. Okay, and then this is his ultimate. It is a Supernova. Very similar to how the Spirit Bomb works for Goku, for sure. I will go ahead and spoil a little thing right now. His ultimate looks a little bit different in that trailer than it does in the other one, so he might have 2 ultimates, depending on like how you have your stuff set up. So we'll see about that depending on what they say. But this is his cover page. Frieza first form, role is technical. That was another thing we predicted from the trailer, because we knew what team he was on. We knew everybody else's role, we just didn't know his, so we knew he was technical. Right now, the only one we don't know about is Caulifla. However, on the poster, Caulifla is positioned with 4 characters, which make it seem like her role is tank. So that's what she might be, but we haven't got a confirmation on that just yet. But the concept that they went with for Frieza was move around the battlefield with your subordinates, Zarbon and Midoriya, command both of them strategically to dominate the map. Let's go ahead and take a look at what his passive skill he does. His passive is Fearsome Emperor, increases movement speed during high-speed flight and prevents flight from being interrupted by an attack. Effect will expire after being hit by an attack, but this effect will be used again after a certain amount of time. So, this will help him move around the map a lot easier and be interrupted less, which is what we're going to see here. So he obviously has faster movement, and as you can see, he was able to go through the Kamehameha right there for free. So that is pretty useful. That will allow him to escape a lot easier. That's the main use of that. There's not really anything else you can really do with that. The increased movement speed, I mean, it allows him to get to fights faster as well, but the main thing is the interruption resistance. It allows him to escape fights, so that way he's not just getting caught out constantly. But that still requires you to be able to get into high-speed fight in the first place. So that is something to keep in mind. His first skill is Show Them Zarbon. Position Zarbon, who will attack enemies in an area with Energy Blast, prioritizing targets in the middle of rush attacks. When his Energy Blast hits an enemy hero, it applies Strike Defense down. Use a skill again to make Zarbon leave his position. This is what that looks like in game. So Zarbon just kind of anchors the position and he starts shooting around Ki Blasts. I don't think you have to aim Zarbon, obviously. I'm pretty sure you just put Zarbon down and he'll go in and shoot different targets, because obviously you're not going to retarget Zarbon every time to hit a different enemy. So Zarbon will hit whatever enemy I think is the closest, or if whatever enemy he has hit recently. And this obviously does the AoE as well. But the main thing to remember with this skill is it is applying strike defense down, and the thing with Frieza's kit again is he can put that Zarbon down and he can still keep hitting you by himself as well. So I don't think you have any counterplay to this, because I don't think you can actually hit Zarbon himself. So we will see that when we actually get into this full game, but I'm almost guaranteeing you that you could not hit Zarbon. So once Frieza puts that Zarbon down, it's going to be very hard to really navigate around Zarbon and Midoriya to try to get to Frieza. So that's kind of what the playstyle you want to go with Frieza is. You want to manipulate the battlefield with your positioning of Zarbon and Midoriya, and then you're moving around as Frieza while also Ki Blasting them and doing damage to them. And you also have the increased flight, so it's not like they can really hit you. So it's kind of the idea that they're going for with this guy. And Zarbon also applying strike defense down will help your team out a lot. Won't really help you out with Zarbon and Frieza himself, because they pretty much only do Ki Blast. I think it'll help Dodoria's damage because he does the knockback skill. But for the most part, this is going to help your team more so than it'll help you. But that's kind of the point. He's a technical character. He's a support character. The strike defense down. We did see that was pretty effective with Gohan in the beta. Strike defense down was pretty strong. Made you do some a lot better damage. But a lot of people didn't know how to use Gohan in the beta, so there wasn't too much effectiveness that was shown of it there. But when you had a good Gohan on your team, you really saw the effectiveness of the strike defense down. But that is the Zarbon skill that he has. Let's go ahead and go to the next one here. The next one is Crush Them Dodoria, which I would say is probably his best skill outside of his ultimate. It is Position Dodoria, who will attack enemies in the area with lunge attacks, prioritizing targets in the middle of rush attacks. When his lunge attack hits an enemy hero, they are forcefully moved. Use a skill again to make Dodoria leave his position. So obviously this one will... does it say that about Zarbon if he prioritizes somebody? Yeah, same thing. They prioritize characters in the middle of rush attacks. So whoever's like trying to attack you is who these guys will prioritize. That's especially important with Dodoria because as you can see right here, his lunge attack does do a very good push through. So that's something you can use to kind of like kite. I think Frieza will be a very good pairing with Piccolo as well because of this. You kind of just put Dodoria down and it's very hard for them to actually push onto you and try to, you know, close the gap between you and them. And you can just set it at range, key blasting with Frieza, key blasting with Piccolo. You can put your bombs down. You have your stretchy arm to move away as well still. So I think that's where Dodoria is going to really shine. And then obviously that pushback paired with Zarbon's blasting and lowering their strike defense, it's all going to pair very well together. So far, like, Frieza's kit has a lot of synergy with itself and a lot of value for the teams that he's on. This is definitely more so, Frieza's definitely meant to be more so right on a range team with like Piccolo. And that's kind of like the main one that you want to run him with. So it's like you could do a team of like Piccolo with Frieza and also Vegeta as your tank. And then your other DPS, probably you want Goku. We don't know what Dabura or Majub do yet. We don't know if they're going to be ranged or melee characters. But you could do Goku, and Goku could do like Spirit Bomb and Supernova synergy with Frieza as well. So that could be pretty good. That's one example of a team that you could run with them. But I think that's definitely the idea. He definitely seems more like a Krillin support, where he's more of a damage utility rather than just raw support like Boo, where he's giving healing, or Gohan, where he's just giving a bunch of debuffs and damaging. But let's see what his last skill is. Imperial Decree grants you and ally heroes movement speed up and create an area that raises Zarbon and Dodoria's attack speed. If ally heroes Zarbon or Dodoria are nearby when the skill is activated, the effects will last longer. This is the movement speed up right there. That is definitely going to be useful in getting the team fights. Like maybe if your team is like trying to get to 8 really quickly, you can pop that there. Although I wouldn't recommend that because I think you want this to be available when you get to the team fight so you can buff your Zarbon and Dodoria, because if you buff their attack speeds, that Dodoria lunge is going to be especially useful with scattering the enemy team, and the Zarbon is going to do a lot more damage and lowering their defense when you also have his attack speed buff. So let's take a look at that attack speed buff right here. So that is his normal attack speed, and then this is his attack speed with a boost. And like, look at how insane that is. Like, the Goku can't even move. Like, obviously Goku could use a skill to navigate, and he could come around with like the jump skill, and then Dodoria would just change positioning. But that's the main thing to keep in mind there, is the attack speed buff is substantial. So you don't want to be using that outside of fight too often. Now we're going to take a look at Frieza's ultimate here, which is the Supernova. That is the uncharged version of it. And the description for it is: drops an enormous energy blast, charging the attack increases the size, improving range, and all enemies in the AoE will be inflicted with all attack down. I don't believe that we had this debuff in the beta. This is a new one. And with this debuff, that's going to be very impactful in team fights. Obviously, you're making the entire enemy team essentially do less damage, because that's the uncharged version. I believe they show us the charged version right here. So you can like charge it right there. And when you hit them with the charge one, look at how much big that AoE is. Obviously, the damage will also be better, but it covers a much bigger area. And in that area, you're applying all of them with a damage debuff, and that's going to be very, very good. So that's basically the Frieza kit. That's how he wants to be played, and those are the utilities and values that he brings to your team. As far as compared to every other character, it really depends on like what his stats are. But I would say he probably is either right with Krillin or right under Krillin in terms of where he places into the technical list. I do feel like he's probably going to be better than Boo and Gohan, but Boo and Gohan are very situational in how good they can be, because it really depends on the player. Boo being the only healer is obviously very valuable, but I do think this Frieza is going to fit in right there next to Krillin in terms of how good he's going to be. But with that being said, I'll see you guys for the network test where we test this guy out. This is Kaizer, signing out.